BoxBox Hub is an absolute essential for any Formula One fan, and the entire app with new widgets, statistics, localized race schedules, and countdowns, you name it. They even have support for Apple's new live activities feature with real-time updates during a race right on the lock screen, and honestly, some of the best looking widgets I've seen.
Welcome. We are back for silver. I am back in the comms box, and I'm excited for this one because this is the first time, well, not the first time in ALR now, because of course gold was on last night, but the first time silver are going to be taking to the Losail race circuit in Qatar. And we are here under the lights. It's very nice and dark over here. It's in the night time, or already dark in the UK, that is anyway, at this time of night. But we have got some exciting racing coming from Qatar. Well, two races actually. We have the sprint event here tonight as well for silver of round 17 of season 6. So welcome to the streams, welcome to the chat, and welcome to some action. Of course, we're going to have plenty of action, 39 laps I think it is, around here, of course, with the sprint and the feature, well, the actual race combined. I don't really want to call it a feature because it's technically just a normal Grand Prix, isn't it? But we have got ourselves some epic racing to unfold. Of course, the qualifying is first to be ticked off the list for tonight's race, or tonight's event, I should say. We've got 3 events technically. We've got qualifying, the sprint, and then the Grand Prix itself. So welcome along to the stream. Welcome along to everybody who is joining us on the track and in the comment section. We've got Kaz saying hello, looking forward to this race. He, of course, is reserving in the Ferrari. They're down in P20 at the moment, of course, still in the pit lane. And then we've got, he's saying good luck to all the drivers and take it easy on me, please, as well for Kaz. So he's looking to hopefully get win some hearts, win some minds over in the pit garages before we get the races underway. But here we go then. Gino, of course, is going to be the first driver who is out on track to set a lap in silver around this circuit. And like I said, history is being made this week with ALR, because of course this is the first time ever that ALR has raced around Qatar. So it's a very interesting circuit actually. It's a very nice flowing circuit indeed, but it can be a bit of a pest in terms of the track limit warnings. We've seen a few penalties add up even in gold last night with the talented drivers that gold have got, and myself. So yeah, unfortunately, we might see some penalties flowing in as the races do unfold. That is one to watch out for. We might see some invalidations in qualifying as well. So stay tuned to that, as the Haas of Jinnah there is going to set ourselves the benchmark round here for the first lap in anger around the Losail circuit as well. Good stuff indeed. There's 17 turns, I think, isn't it? Or 19 turns. There's a big number of turns there, of course, but a lot of them are very fast-paced, just throwing the car in and hoping that it sticks. And, of course, if you've got the setup right, it will do as well. But let's have a look and see what can the Haas driver do. Almost losing the car there, getting a bit squirrely there through the final corner there, but up to the line. ERS has been depleted. It's a 21.494 there for the Haas driver. They're setting the precedent so far in qualifying. Of course, the first driver in the silver season 6, or silver season, I should say, or the history of silver, let's put it that way, to set a time here in Losail of Qatar. Dylan there up into P1 with a 20.9. Very good stuff indeed from Dylan, but McConey has done the same up into P2 there in the Ferrari, of course, reserving tonight. He did reserve his first appearance in ALR last week in Japan. Jinnah there in P3, Kamaro in P4, and Bloomstar there has got himself up into P5. He did reserve in Japan as well, but in gold, and got himself a point, I think, in the Ferrari. If I remember correctly, Mumford up into P3 in the McLaren. He was doing a few practice runs, we heard in the silver chat in the Discord, so interesting stuff indeed to see what he can do as well. We do imagine that everyone's on the soft compound tyres in this qualifying format. We'll just get the tyre compounds up, but it is the soft compound tyre for everybody. Mr. Elite there falling foul to the track limits there as well. You can see that track map turning red there as he went over the white lines. And hopefully that Aston Martin is not on a lap there. I don't think he is. I think it is Kamara Racer who's done a lap there. He's in P6 as it stands. There's no right end plate on the on the Red Bull there, so he's somehow got off and collected the car into the wall. It is, well, it's not a track that you can go off that easily and hit the wall, although you are going very fast pace through most of these corners. But thankfully, he is only on his first outing here in qualifying. He's got time to come back to the pit lane there as Mr. Elite and put on a new front wing. KD in the AlphaTauri is next, I think, to cross the line, and he's going quickly indeed in that AlphaTauri. Of course, we've seen him in the Singapore Grand Prix in the Red Bull there. He was fighting for the win of the Grand Prix until the last lap, indeed. But unfortunately, he didn't have a great run of form there in Japan last week. Can he turn that back around there, back to the Singapore form that we saw from KD as he comes up to the final corner there to finish off his first flying lap attempt? And DRS will be on the money, and let's see what he can do up to the line. It's a 20.9 to beat. It could be close indeed here for KD. Actually, it could be pole position here for KD, and it is pole position as it stands at 20.694. Puts himself 2.5 tenths as Potstuff. What's happened to Potstuff? Potstuff's retired on the circuit there. He's had a problem there. He's had a big smash, I think, there. I think it's is it VTOD? No, it's not VTOD. It's somebody else. Far off there, you can see the stricken Potstuff. Stricken Hash there, I should say, as he's now left the session as well. I'm not quite sure what is going on there for Potstuff. He is having a few issues there, unfortunately. He's qualified in P4. He has got a time on the board, but unfortunately, he is not going to be able to take part in qualifying anymore. He's only got 11 minutes to get himself back in the session as well. Interesting stuff indeed. Not sure what was going on there, but here comes Dopey Lemons up to the line. It is a 21.6 there, puts himself P8 there, so both the Alfa Romeos in the top 10, or in the top 8 I should say, as it stands at the moment. Gordo has said hola. Kaz has said thank you for the reminder of the penalty. Wasn't even thinking of that. I need to. And Moon has said silver tonight with the beautiful Nosey. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm not. I don't agree with that. Unfortunately, it's just an absolute horrible comment now. But there we go then. VTOD is on track. I think Tango is actually further around. Let's have a look and see what Tango's up to. Is it purple in Sector 2, which is promising stuff indeed for the championship protagonist. Of course, he's in the top 2 of the standings, of the driver standings, that is. B Rabbit, of course, is currently the championship leader there. He is 77 points ahead of Tango in P1 at the moment. But Tango, they're looking to try and regain some composure, regain some points there on the championship leader there to get himself further up the order and potentially try and take the title as well. But we've got quite a few races still to go as Tango up into P2 with a 20.9 as well. But nobody can beat KD at the moment. Interesting stuff indeed there, because what we've got here is quite a shootout indeed. KD there has really taken the fight to the championship contenders. McConey as well up there. B Rabbit yet to set a time. I don't think he is, of course, the championship leader. Mumford there has done a good time as well. Unfortunately for Potstuff, I don't think he's going to be able to get himself. Well, I'm not quite sure whether he had an error and lagged out, because I know sometimes you can somehow you can DNF and then the game kicks you out of the session, doesn't it? Which is a bit odd, but that is the way it works sometimes. So hopefully Potstuff can get back into the session, that is, because at least he is going to be starting, well, the best he's going to be starting, sorry, is P5. He could be demoted a bit further down the order depending on other people setting some faster times as well in this qualifying, but there is still time. There is still time there. Here comes McConey there, who's coming round turn 1 and in towards the next fast-flowing part of the sector, as well as, of course, making sure you get the ERS usage right as well. It's very, very paramount around here. If you watch the gold race, I think the gold, or the top level of gold, of course, not myself included, whereas McConey unfortunately invalidates there. Like I said, the top level of gold there have got the ERS down to a T there. It is very draining, especially on the qualifying laps here in Losail, but it looks like Gino is under control as he comes through the hairpin. Potstuff has joined back, but unfortunately will not be able to take part in, or not be able to take place in the rest of this qualifying session. His car has retired itself. If it wasn't him retiring, it was definitely his car that went off into the wall. He'd done a great lap time there of 21.1 there, puts himself in the top 5 as it stands, but unfortunately that is his qualifying already done and dusted, as we saw with Kamara Racer last week in Japan there, and he having to fight through the order there was Kamara because he didn't have a time on the board. Luckily Potstuff has set a time, but he's now down to P6 there, as we've had Kamara Racer jump up the order there into P5 there, and B Rabbit there on his first flying lap there has pipped KD to the post with, oh, he needs to make sure he gets out of the way of that Alfa Romeo there with the 20.608 there. So both the top 2, both the front row on the 20.6s there, everybody else in the 20.9s or lower. So there is some room for improvement there from everybody else, but I think B Rabbit and KD are going to be fighting for this pole position as it stands. It looks like they're the favourites, doesn't it? And they would be my favourites as well, unfortunately, for everybody else, that is, because we want to see some tight races, some close qualifyings as well, but I'm sure there'll be some extra pace coming from the rest of the drivers as well. Here comes Mumford there through Sector 1 now in towards Sector 2. We'll come back to Mumford because I think we've got more action to unfold. We've got some more drivers there further ahead of us. I think Gorda there just starting a lap, I should say. Misrally, unfortunately, has invalidated again, so that is not going too well there for the Red Bull driver, the second Red Bull driver there. Sweet MJP is on a flying lap as well, but we'll come back to him because I think Mumford is the furthest along. And we'll see Mumford now coming through the very fast right-handers. It's similar to the left-handers at Turkey. I would have to sort of compare it to, I suppose. Maybe that's what they were modelled on, to be fair. But round the final quarter now for the McLaren driver, who unfortunately missed out last week. But let's see what he can do here in Qatar. And up to the line, what's it going to be there for the McLaren? It's a 20.1 there, puts himself into P7 ahead of Pot Stuff now as well. He did improve by almost 3/10 of a second as well, which was good stuff indeed. Kaz has got himself up into P13. All shot down, who is of course reserve tonight in the McLaren as well. He's unfortunately had to back off, it looks like there. So he has, as he's slowing down there to let somebody through, I think. Hopefully that's somebody letting somebody through. I think it might have been Sweet MJP there. He's got a lot of traffic now to let through, so hopefully he doesn't get himself disqualified as well now. Yeah, he's crawling around it, and unfortunately I might have unsettled that Alfa Romeo there, I think, but nevertheless we'll have to come back to that, as here comes Sweet MJP there to set his first lap time on the board. It's P7 for the Williams driver there, a 21.1 on the dot as well. Good stuff indeed from him. Now let's have a look and see who's going to be next across the line. I can't keep up with all these cars on track all at the same time. They're all over the place there, aren't they? So I need to try and, as Kaz is back in the pit lane there, we have got an Alpha Tauri on track. I think it might be KD there just finishing off his outlap there to go again, potentially try and steal away that pole position there from B Rabbit, the championship leader as well, looking very strong here in Qatar. But so is KD, so is Dango, Dylan and McConey, I should say, sorry, all in the 1 minute 20s, I should say, not the 20s. If you can do a lap around here in 20 seconds, then I would be very much amazed. But nonetheless, we have to stick to the track limits, and I think that 20-second lap time will probably be a little, just a little tad. But there we go then. Craig Arder coming through into Sector 2 now, and looking good indeed is actually Craig Arder. He's up into P12, I should say. I thought he was in P11 a minute ago, but he's been demoted down by, I think, Dopey Lemons. But Craig R has had a few difficult results there this season, but he's also had some fantastic results. I think it was Imola was the one that sticks in my mind there, where he got a P3, I think it was a podium at least, from Craig R there after starting down the back of the grid there. A drive of the season for sure, in my opinion, but we'll have to wait and see what the awards will say, because of course the awards for all divisions actually will be coming out in about 2 or 3 weeks time, I suppose you could say, and getting more votes in there for the most consistent, the most improved, the drivers of the season, all of that sort of shenanigans, the best overtakes and the best performances, all of that sort of stuff. So that will be coming out very soon, towards the end of November, I think it will be. So stay tuned for that one, because there's going to be some fantastic awards indeed, some fantastic drives throughout this season, not just in silver but in all the divisions as well. Here comes KD, who takes away pole position there from B Rabbit there, the Alpha Tauri there, up into 1 minute 20.3. That is fantastic indeed from KD there in the Alpha Tauri. That is a really good lap time indeed. That is an impressive lap time indeed. That's better than my time, to be fair, but nonetheless that's not really an achievement in that case. But I'm taking the achievement away from him there by saying that, but nonetheless he's done a great job there to currently secure his pole position as it stands. B Rabbit there is still in the pit lane, so you might want to just be keeping an eye on KD's times there. He might be a bit worried there by that time from the AlphaTauri as well. That is pretty impressive indeed there from KD. Here comes Kamara racing out through into Sector 2 now. making sure he gets it right. Tango said I definitely won't threaten pole here, says Tango. He's currently in P3. He's only, well, he's 3/10 away from B Rabbit, but he's almost 6/10 away from KD as it stands. But there is still time. The track, of course, is rubbering in, and of course that usually means that the times get quicker as well as the qualifying progresses. As we get towards the final few seconds of the qualifying, that is when the cars are the fastest. So we'll see if that is the case, of course, around here very, very soon, in a few minutes or so. Ginner has said he forgot to put his setup on in the Discord, and I think that is going to be a bit of a problem there for the Haas driver. They're down in P11 as it stands. As Camaro, they're up into P4, so it's now an all Aston Martin second row of the grid there, and he's very close indeed in terms of the time to his teammate. Only by 5,000ths of a second there are the Aston Martins currently split there. I think that might be Camaro's qualifying done and dusted though, because he's got 2.5 minutes to get himself back out on the pits. Oh, what's going on there? Blimey, that was a bit dodgy there from Kamara Racer and whoever that Haas is as well. I think I'm not sure they were all aware of the other car coming through there. Now the Alfa Romeo getting out of the way, but of course Kamara Racer is not on a lap anymore. He's on an in-lap. Ginner is trying to get out of the way as well. It looks like of an Alpine of V Todd, who's invalidated there as he comes through into Sector 2. Unfortunately for V Todd, I think that is his qualifying done and dusted as well. Unfortunately for the other Alpine, he's up into P11 there. He's currently the highest of both the Alpines, of course, far down in P20 at the moment, not set a time. The only driver so far not to set a time as well. Gordon was asked what wings he should be running. Hopefully he sorted that out, because I'm not going to be able to help you much now, because I think you've already set a lap time, so I think that's it done and dusted. KD is retired in the pit lane, so that is his qualifying done and dusted. He doesn't think, or hopefully he doesn't think, anybody can beat that time. B-Rabbit might have something to say about that, but so could Tango, so could Dylan, so could McConey as well. But we'll come back to that one. I think we've got to go to the Ferrari. We'll have to wait to see Kamara Racer's back in the pit lane there. So he is finished there for qualifying, unfortunately for Kamara Racer. Well, not so unfortunately. He's done a great job there of getting himself up into P4 as it stands. Reflection back in the pit lane. That's his qualifying finished as well. And Craig are coming through into Sector 2 as well. We're having to find out who's going to be next across the line, to be honest. And I can't quite tell. We'll get there eventually, don't you worry. And there we go then. Tango just starting a lap, so it's not going to be him. And B-Rabbit, they're just coming around as well. Farf, they're just finishing off his out lap. And Bloomstar, I think, has just finished his lap time as well here. So that will be him finished for qualifying too. Down in P19, unfortunately for the Williams driver there, not looking too good in qualifying, but it can come back. Of course, the race is where you score the points, isn't it? It's not where not where you qualify, it's where you finish. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. That's the saying, isn't it? So there we go. Craig R unfortunately has invalidated. That's his qualifying sorted as well. V Todd is back in the pit lane, I think. I'm not quite sure what Mr. Elite is up to here, because he's all over the circuit as well there, and needs to get himself sorted and out of the way. And I think he has got himself out of the way there. Ginner there through into Sector 2. Sector 3 I should say now, and of course he's got no setup on, so we've heard the comment section, no setup there for the Haas driver, but he's still looking to improve on his lap time so far, and let's see what he can do. Can he get himself in the top 10? And that would be pretty much an achievement in its own right, I think, with no setup there, no deployment there, left in the car, up to the line. It's P11 there for Gino. Unfortunately not getting into that top 10, but he did improve there on that lap. Good stuff indeed. The Alfa Romeo of Dylan there has improved as well, up into P3 there, 20.7 for the Alfa Romeo of Dylan there. Of course, championship contender there. Tango back in the pit lane, unfortunately, has abandoned his lap time there as well. Sweet MVP there is having a problem as well. I'm not quite sure what's going on for him. Bloomstar is back in the pits. Farf is off the circuit there. I'm not quite sure where Farf's going either, to be honest. It seems like everyone's having a bit of anarchy there on this attempt. As here comes McConey. No, it's not McConey. It's the other Ferrari of Kaz up to the line there. Kaz has, he has improved, sorry, but he has not been able to get himself up the order there. He stays P16, and that is his qualifying sorted and finished here in Qatar. Here comes Dopey Lemons there. He's 0.3 of a second up. He's up into P7. Has disqualified for blocking the pit lane is McConey there, and I'm not quite sure what is going on there. McConey there has his car's rolling back onto the circuit as well. He's been disqualified and demoted down to P20, unfortunately for McConey. Not quite sure what happened there as Sweet MGP retires in the pit lane. Mr. Elite is back in the pits as well. That's P12 for Mr. Elite. I think it is anyway. And I think that's qualifying sorted, because nobody else is back out on circuit on a flying lap there. Mr. Elite is back in the pits and he's retired as well. Unfortunately, I think that is Yep, that is the qualifying done and dusted. He's waiting for Gordo there to get himself wheeled away into the pits. But yeah, that is qualifying. A bit of a damp squib there in the end, unfortunately, because we had a few drivers there not getting it, well, invalidating on their final runs, maybe pushing a bit too hard to try and improve. KD is your pole sitter here in Qatar for the first time ever in silver. We have got the Qatar Grand Prix we've got a sprint race first and then the Qatar Grand Prix. But KD will be taking us away from the top end of the grid for the sprint event there. B-Rabbit there on the front row in P2, Dylan in P3, Tango in P4. So 3 of the championship protagonists in the top 4. Kamara Racer in P5 there. Good qualifying from him. Dopey Lemons in P6, Swimmer P in P7, Mumford in P8, Potstuff P9, Jinner in P10 with no setup as well, which is pretty good indeed. V Todd in P11 there, Mr. Elite P12, Craig R P13, Reflection P14, all shot down there, reserving in the McLaren in P15, Kaz in the Ferrari in P16, Gordo P17, Bloomstar P18, Farf in P19. Unfortunately, didn't get a time in, and McConey there got disqualified for blocking the pit lane entry, I should say, at the very end of that qualifying session. So unfortunate for McConey there. He's out of the he was out of the qualifying. He is thankfully going to be part of the race, but he's going to be starting from the back of the grid, unfortunately for him. After qualifying, it looked like he was going to be qualifying in the top of the order, unfortunately, as well, which is a bit of a shame. He's going to have his work cut out there to get himself back through the grid there. But here we are then in Qatar, ready for the sprint event there. 10 laps of the sprint as we get ourselves, the drivers are getting themselves ready for the strategies, for the fuel loads, for all the tyre pressures and everything like that as well. So wait for them to get ready, and we'll be ready to get going for this fantastic sprint event.
BoxBox Hub is an absolute essential for any Formula One fan, and the entire app with new widgets, statistics, localized race schedules, and countdowns, you name it. They even have support for Apple's new live activities feature with real-time updates during a race right on the lock screen, and honestly, some of the best looking widgets I've seen.
Big shout out there to our sponsor, of course, BoxBox there, your mobile app for everything F1. So get on there, get your discount as well. In the link in the description, there's discounts for ALR drivers, for ALR fans as well in the Discord. Not in the Discord, sorry, it's in the Discord as well, but it's also in the description of this video. So scroll down there and click the link for your 30% discount as well. But yeah, BoxBox there, the best app there for widgets, for times, for live updates, everything F1 is, well, like I was saying, and like Sean likes to rub it in as well. I've got the lovely Lewis Hamilton background there, and Lewis Hamilton widgets and everything. So it's very nice indeed. Right then. As Gordo has been disqualified on the formation lap there. We have got the sprint event ready to get going. Of course, the formation lap is underway, and everybody bar Kaz in P16 is on the medium compound tyres. So everyone thinks the mediums are going to be the best to get through this race at the fastest pace, and of course be able to get to the end on the tyre life as well. But let's have a look and see if that's going to unfold. It could come back to Kaz's favour towards the end of the Grand Prix, actually, or end of the sprint event. I should say it's not really a Grand Prix. There we go then. KD, of course, is going to be leading us away from pole position then, and we will see. Hopefully McConey can get himself back up the order as well. Unfortunately, that disqualification there really has hampered him after qualifying in P4. It looked like he was going to be finishing in P4 at least. But there we go then. The formation lap, like I said, is just about to be complete. We can get ourselves ready to get racing here in Qatar for the first time ever in silver as well. Silver Season 6 is the opener for the very first silver Qatarian Grand Prix. I don't know if I said that right. Qatari Grand Prix, whichever one it is. Hopefully I got one of them right. There we go. But right then, ready to get going as well. Gordo said, oops, we didn't hit him hard enough, says Serious Mushroom there. Unfortunately, I'm not quite sure what was going on there in the formation up there for Gordo, but he will have a bit colder tyres on the start of this sprint event, so he might have to face some disadvantage there to the likes of Bloomstar, Farf and McConey right behind him. But nonetheless, we are lining up on the grid there for the first time here in silver, Season 6 there for round 17 in Qatar, and the very nice night sky is ready to shine down on us, not literally, so we get ourselves started. Well, nice angle actually here from the start here, 5 red lights, and Let's have a look and see when the lights are going to go out, because it's going to be a bit of a delay here. And away we go for Qatar in the Silver Season 6. And off we go then down towards turn 1. B-Rabbit with a good start there. Oh no, he's actually being swamped there by the Aston Martin. It's going to be 3 wide as he into turn 1. It's close indeed there, but B-Rabbit there is now fighting with Dylan there for P2 and round through into turn 2 and turn 3. And it looks like I think the Mercedes is just about edged back ahead there of the Alfa Romeo. He's got the position done and dusted. Mr. Elite up into P8 there. We'll have a look at the position changes. He's up 4 places. There is Mr. Elite there, and now I think he's under pressure there from Speed P. They go around the outside. There's contact there, and Mr. Elite has been spun, and unfortunately that has cost him all the way back down to the back of the field there. Unfortunately for him, he's had a bit of contact with the Williams there. A swim to P there, but Mumford now up into, well, he's down into P10, but he's in the top 10 as it stands. He needs to get himself into the top 8 there, of course, for the points in the sprint event. They're Jenner up 3 places there with his default setup. It's not too bad at all there at the moment there for the Haas driver, but we might have to cross our fingers then and wait for him to come back there. Wait for it to come back. Of course, he needs to finish the whole race there before he can worry about that. Here comes Mr. Elite. He's back underway, thankfully, but he's lost out 6 places there, unfortunately, with that spin. He has got himself back underway there. He needs to just compose himself and get himself back in this race as Bloomstar and McConey switching places there. Up into P16 goes up into P15 goes the Ferrari, who is recovering from P20 on this grid, of course. So he had a great pace in there in qualifying, but unfortunately that very random disqualification there by the game at the end of the qualifying session put him down to P20 there. He's going to have to fight back there on now Gordo into P14. Can he make any moves into turn 1? And no, he hasn't. He has to sit behind there. That Red Bull is making himself as wide as possible as we go into turn 1, 2 and now 3 as well. As there we go then. That is Gordo there doing a good job there. He's up 3 places there is Gordo. So is All Shot Down. So up 2 places is All Shot Down, as is Reflection in P12 and onto the edge of the top 10 that he wants to get himself in the top 8, I should say, because that is where the points are scored there in the sprint. Dylan with a great start there was putting the pressure on B-Rabbit there into the first couple of corners, but he's had to drop back there behind the Mercedes now, and they're trying to stay with KD. KD's showed some great pace there in qualifying, and now he's showing some great pace in the race as well. We're only 2 laps in, or 1.5 laps in, as Pot Stuff and VTOD having a battle there into the hairpin. And VTOD has somehow, if VTOD has come out ahead, as Potstuff has had a problem there. His connection there has kicked him out again. I think Potstuff's having a few internet issues, which is why we saw him disconnect in the qualifying as well. Hopefully he can get himself back into the race. Reflection has gone through as well. All Shot Down will be able to get himself through as well. As unfortunately that Haas is all sort of stricken at the moment because we haven't got anybody in the car there. And yeah, big shame indeed. Hopefully Potstuff can get himself back in the race like he did in qualifying as well. B-Rabbit says the fastest lap of the race now. The DRS has been enabled as we finish off lap 2. Of course, there's only one DRS zone around here, which is quite odd indeed, because for such a fast-paced circuit, you'd think they might have a couple more DRS zones where they could. There's not many places you can put a DRS zone around here, apart from the main straight, which is where the actual DRS is activated. Of course, the detection point is just before the final turn as well, so you have to be within 1 second there of the car ahead there but just before the final turn to be able to activate that DRS down the main straight. B-Rabbit currently within 7/10 there of the race leader of KD, so that would mean that he can hold on to that DRS range at the moment. Dylan there is having a bit of a problem. They're trying to cling on to the top 2 here. He's almost 0.8 of a second, almost 0.9 of a second away from the top 2. That would be pretty perilous for his Grand Prix, well, for his sprint, I should say. And it could affect his starting position there for the Grand Prix as well. But at the moment, it is A-OK there. Dylan there doing a great job there recovering through Sector 2 and now into Sector 3. He's now half a second behind B-Rabbit, so he's done a great job there of recouping that time loss there. B-Rabbit now is 0.9 of a second behind. Kamara Reza picks up a 3-second penalty. That could be costly indeed. We saw German there lose the sprint win last night in gold with the 3-second penalties there just tumbling in there. Unfortunately, the sprint event is very short indeed, so the cars are still bunched up quite closely indeed as well. Swing to P, getting the pumps, get himself past Jinnen out into P7 there as we get a nice camera angle there going through turn 1. Very nice indeed. have to have. Oh, I like this one. This is very nice. This is, of course, what I think Sean was talking about, this camera angle last night in gold. But yeah, it's very nice indeed to have the helicopter shot there flowing through Sector 1 here as Jenner they're trying to catch up to the back there of the Williams car. And well, as long as this carries on, I'm going to be spectating like this, I think. Jenner there, under pressure there from Mumford as well as we go into the hairpin. And I think he was probably looking a bit too far ahead, not concentrating on who was behind. And Mumford is going to sneak in there if he can and try and get that position back. Of course, Mumford is on a normal setup there. Jenner is not on a default setup, I think, or he's on some sort of different setup to the Qatarian setup that he should be using, I suppose you could say. He's lost out the DRS there of the Williams car of Sweet. Then this could maybe open the door there for Mumford and V Todd, who's all over the back of Mumford as well. These two might be praying that they can get through as Tango picks up a 3-second penalty. Both the Aston Martins now have got 3-second penalties. That's going to impact their starting position for the Grand Prix next as well. It was almost off the circuit. They're trying to correct the car, but like I said, the penalties will be added on as Mr. Elite picks up a penalty as well. He's down in P17, unfortunately, for Mr. Elite. The penalties are starting to add up here as well, as here comes Mumford on the attack now on the Haas of Jenner, all trying to go this way and that way. I'm not quite sure what that was from Jenner there. A bit of a late defence indeed, as now round the outside in towards turn 1, and always off the circuit goes Jenner. He's now lost out to both as Potstuff has joined back. Good stuff indeed. But yeah, I'm not quite sure Potstuff can be very happy with his AI car as through into turn 3. We've got side by side between Jenner and McConey there in towards turn 4. We go now side by side still between the Ferrari and the Haas driver, and this is close indeed. This is tight indeed. There's contact between the two there, but now McConey has the inside of the hairpin. Around the outside goes Jenner, but he's lost out there to the Ferrari, and I think Auto there looking interesting indeed as well in that P12. But no, not quite. No moves being made there by the Red Bull. He's had to sit behind, and McConey has been let through. I think that setup there for Jenner there is really coming good at this stage of the Grand Prix. This stage of the sprint. I keep saying Grand Prix. We're not in the Grand Prix just yet. We've got another 5 laps before the Grand Prix. And like I was saying, V Todd there battling his way through there. McConey's got himself back up into P11 there from P20 on the grid as well at the start of this Grand Prix. This sprint event, there we go, finally got it right. V Todd there has got a 3-second penalty. That is going to demote him out of the top 10, and V Todd has lost the car and he's gone into the wall as well there. V Todd at the exit of the penultimate corner. And unfortunately, V Todd there, that spin has cost him dearly, and he's got himself back underway, thankfully now. But yeah, unfortunately, that is right down to the back of the field. There's V Todd after that spin. Thankfully, he's got himself back underway, but he's not too far off the rest of the order there. But a bit of a shame there for V Todd. They're both the Alpines are struggling at this stage. Favre has picked up a penalty as well. That is bad news indeed for Favre. But let's have a look and see back up the order, the top of the order there. The top 4 are really doing a great job here. Look at the championship contenders there. B Rabbit there in P1 of the standings there. Tango in P4, but he's in P2 in the standings, and Dylan in P3, and he's in P3 in the standings as well. KD is the anomaly here, but he's leading the way with the pace that he's got in that AlphaTauri. He's looking great indeed there, potentially for the win here of the sprint event there. He was on for a win in Singapore, but unfortunately on the last lap he cost himself with a spin. And B Rabbit was there to take up the spoils, but hopefully this time KD can hold on for the race win, and of course, well, the event win, because we can't really call the sprint a race, can we? But there we go then. Now B Rabbit there just trying to cling on to the back of that AlphaTauri for the time being. ERS light flashing there for the AlphaTauri of KD. That is indicating to B Rabbit that he's harvesting energy there in the car in front, and that could be good news indeed, as their Tango, I think, is also harvesting as well. And this could be the move for the lead, could it? KD pulls out to avoid the slipstream, or avoid giving the slipstream there to the Mercedes driver into turn 1. B Rabbit stays behind, and he doesn't want to make any moves just yet. McConey has got himself up into P9 now, and past Reflection in towards turn 1. He's got the move on the Mercedes there, up into P9 and up 11 places there in 7 laps, which is pretty good indeed. Potstuff has got himself back in the car, I think, and he's trying to go for a move there on V Todd and on Mr. Elite. Oh, sorry, it's on Favre as well. Favre and Mr. Elite there. He's got himself up into P15, and I just missed that, because I think that could have been an absolutely epic overtake of the season there from Potstuff there. But yeah, good job indeed. He's got himself back in the car. He's trying to refocus now and trying to gain some positions there to at least promote him back up the order as much as possible there. Of course, the starting grid is decided by the order in the sprint event, so we'll have to wait and see. As far as under pressure now from Mr. Elite as we go through the hairpin. There's a bit of front wing, I think, off there in the background. Who is that? What is that as well? It's not from Favre's car. It could be from Mr. Elite's though, could it? I'm not quite sure. Is there right end plate missing there? The right end plate is missing there on Mr. Elite's Red Bull there. Unfortunately, we saw that in qualifying. I'm not quite sure if he went in the back of Favre or if that was that's just a setup issue there. Really, I'm not quite sure what happened to Mr. Elite there, but unfortunately he's lost part of the right end plate there, and that will be costing him a bit of time, especially through the fast-paced corners around this circuit. B Rabbit now going back into the slipstream there to try and get himself a move for the lead. Is he into turn one? He's thinking about it, but he's too far back and has to bide his time once again there. KD's that light still flashing there on the Alpha Tauri there. That's just showing that he's not got much ERS left to play with there. And potentially B Rabbit and Dylan are just going to be biding their time and waiting for the opportune moment to try and make an overtake there. Mr. Elite has been overtaken by V Todd, as once again we've got this very nice camera angle here, but unfortunately for Mr. Elite, he doesn't really care about the camera angle. He just cares about getting to the end of this sprint event, and hopefully he can do in one piece as well. Bloomstar is down the back of the field. Unfortunately, V Todd picks up another penalty. That is bad news indeed. We'll have a look at the penalties very quickly, as I think we've got a few penalties there for V Todd there and the other Alpine of Favre and Mr. Elite, as Mr. Elite has been passed by Craig R now, and both the Aston Martins have got a 3-second penalty each. Currently, Dopey Lemons, Sweet MGP could be benefiting from those two. I think Mumford might be a bit too far back actually, so maybe they've not done too badly there to lose out. They're only losing 2 places there to the Alfa Romeo of Dopey Lemons and the Williams of Sweet MGP as it stands. But there we go then. Not much point looking at the tyre compounds really, because everybody is using the medium compound tyres apart from Kaz, who is on the hards. Kaz has got himself up 2 places there and he is into P14, but I don't think the hards are phasing in or working as well as he might have hoped there at this stage. Here comes B Rabbit there once again. Can he make the move for the lead of the Grand Prix on lap 9? Now 1 lap to go. 3-second penalty for Bloomstar there, down in P20 unfortunately for him. He's not having a great time in the Williams at the moment in the sprint event, of course, but it could come back to him in the as Mr. Elite is in the pit lane. So interesting stuff indeed there. Mr. Elite is going for a choice change as we start. We're going to be on the final lap now, so I'm not quite sure. Reflection picks up a penalty as well. That's P10 there for Reflection. He's going to be demoted down to almost P13, I think, with the proximity of the cars behind him. We're on to the penultimate lap here of the sprint event. We've got, of course, 29 laps to come here in the feature, or the actual Grand Prix, in just a few moments' time as well, only a few minutes' time for the feature race. But B Rabbit there looking good indeed. Potentially he's lining up a move later on in this, later on this lap now, because of course we've only got 1 lap left here as we go through sector 3 for the penultimate time as well, for the sprint that is, and now in towards the final couple of corners there of lap 9. And will there be any moves for the lead of the Grand Prix? We'll have to wait and see. I think B Rabbit's a bit too far back here. He's actually might have cost himself a few tenths in that lap, and that could be difficult. As V Todd's off the circuit. V Todd's had an accident there at the exit of the hairpin in sector 2, and unfortunately dropping himself down the order. The Mr. Elite's come back out of the pit lane. And here comes B Rabbit there, but he's not been able to get any closer. Well, he has got closer with the DRS, but he's not been able to get himself close enough to get a move done. And unfortunately, I think that could be potentially all of the overtaking positions, all the overtaking opportunities done and dusted there for the sprint event. There's Kaz has been passed by Potstuff now down the main straight. Potstuff up into P14 after recovering there after the disconnection, unfortunately for him. Reflection picks up another 3-second penalty. That's going to demote him even further down the order, unfortunately for Reflection. That is bad news indeed. The penalties are starting to flood in now as B Rabbit has gone for the lead. He's got the move done. I completely missed what was going on there, but he's got the move for the lead done and dusted somewhere in sector 2. And as Katie's got a problem there. Has he got an issue? I think Katie might have a problem here. As now Dylan is through as well, up into P2. And KD is having a serious problem there, it looks like. I'm not quite sure if there's a puncture or there's some sort of other malfunction there on the AlphaTauri, but now Tango is putting the pressure on as well. And both the championship protagonists there of Dylan and B Rabbit have been let through. Tango is now all over the back of the AlphaTauri on the final lap here. Is there a puncture there for the AlphaTauri? It doesn't look like it. He's still going at a reasonable pace, but unfortunately maybe the mistake there through into sector 3 has cost KD the lead of this sprint event there. B Rabbit there goes out and moves out to the right to avoid the slipstream there of Dylan there, but takes the race win here in the sprint. And that was an absolutely epic final lap there from B Rabbit and Dylan as well in P2. KD finishes P3 at the end. He's lost 2 positions on the final lap there, unfortunately. Dopey Lemons does get P4. Great stuff indeed from Dopey Lemons as well. Very well driven from him. Tango in P5 with that penalty. Sweet to P in P6. Camaro down to P7 there with his penalty as well. Mumford stays P8. McConey up into P9 with a fantastic drive there, but unfortunately not in the points there after that disqualification in the qualifying. Ginner in P10 there after his no setup as well. All shot down in P11 there. Gordo in P12. Reflection in P13. Pot Stuff in P14. Kaz in P15. Craigar P16. Farf P17. Bloomstar in P18, Mr. Elite and V Todd make up the back row of the grid there for the feature event. The Grand Prix itself is coming up here in Losail in just a few moments' time, but that was an epic sprint event indeed, and unfortunate for KD because we looked like he had the race under control there. It didn't look like Brabbit could have many more overtaking opportunities, but he made one somehow in sector 3 and got himself through and up into the lead of the race. There 8 points there for the championship leader there, extending his championship lead as well over Tango there and Dylan in P2. But KD there, I think, will be a bit upset with that one. I think he had the win in the bag, to be fair, but unfortunately it did not happen that way. There, Dopey Lemons in P4. And we'll have a quick rundown of the sprint classification as well, but only a 14-minute race there. That was pretty good indeed, but now we've got a bit of a longer one as well. so stay tuned there. Unfortunately for V Todd and Mr. Elite and Bloomstar and Farf, I don't think they had the best races there of their careers in silver, that is, but hopefully they can bounce back there in the Grand Prix in just a few moments' time.
BoxBox Hub is an absolute essential for any Formula One fan, and the entire app with new widgets, statistics, localized race schedules, and countdowns, you name it. They even have support for Apple's new live activities feature with real-time updates during a race right on the lock screen, and honestly, some of the best looking widgets I've seen.
Once again, big shout out to our sponsor of ALR. ALR is now powered by BoxBox there, the mobile app, the F1 mobile app with everything you need there. Widgets for your phone, with your home screen. They look very nice indeed, absolutely spectacular. All the F1 details, all the news, all live updates and everything like that. All of the everything you need really for anything F1, to be honest, is all on the BoxBox app. So tune into that one. It is of course the link in the description there, the 30% discount there for ALR drivers and fans as well. But here we go then for the Grand Prix itself then, and of course the sprint order there has classified the starting grid there for this Grand Prix. In real life F1, of course, the qualifying is separate, isn't it? But and there's another qualifying event for the sprint, but unfortunately we don't have time for that one. So because otherwise everyone will be sitting here doing qualifyings rather than doing any racing. But nonetheless, we can get ourselves started here in Qatar for 29 laps this time. So it's a bit of a longer race, this one, of course. The Grand Prix itself. B Rabbit there, of course, the championship leader there, taking us away there from the front of the grid, I should say. Of course, he got himself the race win in the sprint there after starting from P2. Dylan there in P2 on the grid as well. He's on the front row there, looking to try and get himself a good start like he did in the sprint as well, and potentially get himself up into the lead of the Grand Prix as we get ourselves into turn 1 there. KD in P3 there on the hard compound tyres, the top 3 as well. Dopey Lemons in the Alfa Romeo on the medium compound tyres there in P4. Great sprint event there, and he was helped out by a couple of penalties there for the drivers ahead of him. So he got himself promoted up the order there at the end of the 10 laps as well. So he's got himself went to P4 there on the mediums there. Tango in P5 on the hards as well, looking to try and get himself into the fight there for the podium positions, I think, as well. Potentially go for a race win as well. We'll have to wait and see. MVP there in P6 there in the Williams there, looking good indeed. He's looked strong there in qualifying before, but he's not had it in the race. He's had a good sprint event though, and hopefully he can use that form there in the feature as well there. Kamara in P7 there, he was pushed down the order there after the 3-second penalty was added on to his race time at the end of the sprint there, but P7 is not too shabby indeed. Mumford on the soft compound tyres in P8 there, so looking to start strong there is Mumford. McConey there in P9 there from the back of the grid there in the sprint, but he's up into P9 there on the hard compound tyres. Ginner is also on the hards in P10, as is Allshot down there in P11 in the McLaren. Then we've got Gorda there on the mediums in P12, in the Red Bull that is. Reflection in P13 on the soft compound tyres. Potstuff P14 on the softs, on the hards after recovering after that internet issue. And Kaz there also on the softs in P15, as is Craig R in P16. Farf in P17 on the hards. Bloomstar on the softs in P18, and the back of the grid there is Mr. Elite on the hards, and V Todd in P20 on the hard compound tyres as well. Right then, here we go then for 29 laps around Qatar then for the feature race itself. The 5 red lights are on here in Qatar and the 5 red lights are off. And away we go then for the second time here in Losail. And down towards turn 1 we go once again there. A longer race this time, a bit more calmness is personified hopefully. Into turn 1 we go. B-Rabbit leads the way there. There's an Alfa Romeo looking to go down the inside of KD there. He's got the move done as well as Dopey Lemons there up into P3. There's action at the back there. Mr. Elite's dropped down the order there. Unfortunately he's lost out there to Craig R as well. And unfortunately not sure whether there was a collection there between Craig R and Mr. Elite there. They're having a few troubles there, it looks like, down the back of the field there. Dopey Lemons has got himself past KD and up into P3 there with a great start indeed as we go through down towards the Sector 2 hairpin for the first time there in this Grand Prix itself. Dopey Lemons there were hoping to get himself past his teammate, I think, very soon, because he's on the medium compound tyres, isn't he? He's going to be much faster at this stage of the Grand Prix compared to those on the hards. Mumford has got himself up into P8 there. Back up into P, I should say, on the soft compound tyres, but a few action points there. I think there was some action there between Mr. Elite and Craig R at the back of the field there. They've got themselves back underway. Mr. Elite, I'm not quite sure what angle. Can we see a bit of the car, please? Yeah, there we go. I think hopefully he's got all of his front wing intact this time still. Yes, he has got his front wing intact, and I think Craig R has as well. So I think it must have been a bit of contact between the two that just was naturally caused a spin there for both of them at the same time there. Here comes Dopey Lemons there on the back of his teammate. I don't know if there's going to be any team orders or any team instructions here, but Dopey Lemons is not being let past by Dylan as B-Rabbit sets the fastest lap of the race. The fastest lap is done and dusted here in Losail, and no moves being made, no position changes there between the Alfa Romeo, so I think Dylan wants to try and cling onto the back there of B-Rabbit for the time being, and try and just hold on to the race leader as it stands there as we go down towards turn 4 for the second time here. Everybody in a very nice train indeed there down towards Jenna, I think, having to fight himself really with the difference in setup there, the difficult setup indeed with the lack of setup, I suppose you could say. Not quite sure what happened there for Jennifer. He's not got his setup loaded there. He's going to have to try and hold on to the back there of the top 8 as it stands. He's losing time, and of course DRS will be available on lap 3, or technically on lap 4 really, wouldn't it? But the activation will start on lap 3 after the first 2 opening laps there have been completed. Yeah, like I said, unfortunately there for as Farf has had a problem as well, and so has Bloomstar. They have both had a pit stop, I think there. We'll double check that. Yes, they both had a pit stop there, has Farf and Bloomstar, so they've gone on to the medium compound tyres respectively, and hopefully they can carry on through in this race there and get themselves back up the order as well. We'll have to wait and see. Dopey Lemons now all over the back of his teammate. They're really pushing Dylan through the final corner here as well. And that is going to be very... I'm not quite sure if there's going to be any team orders at all, but we're going to have to wait and see if there's going to be any overtakes, especially when the DRS is activated as well. B-Rabbit sets the fastest lap of the race once again, but the Alfa Romeos are getting closer and closer. Kaz sets the fastest lap of the race there in P14. on the soft compound tyres. So it just shows the softs are still hanging on for the time being anyway. We're only on to lap 3, that is, but with the tyre wear around here, as some of the drivers there found out, as Tango's got himself past Sweet MJP, has he? He's battling away side by side there through into sector 2. Unfortunately, he has to back out there, and I think that was very wise indeed from Tango there, otherwise it could have been a bit of an accident indeed as well. But Tango there has dropped down one place, unfortunately, behind the Williams there, but of course he's on the hard compound tyres, and Sweet MJP is on the medium compound tyres, so it'll be a lot faster at this stage, but they will wear out. Was what's happened there? KD off the circuit almost, it looks like, and now Sweet MJP had to take avoiding action, and now Tango is all over the back of him here as well, and Tango could go for a move. Can he go through a move into the next left-hander, but not quite. He has to sit behind. This is going to get tense indeed, as all the tops say, look at this. Junior's got himself back in the fray now, and everybody down to P14 is in the DRS straight, as Dopey Lemons picks up the first penalty of the feature event, and he unfortunately is in P3, but that penalty currently would cost him potentially a top 10 as it stood at the moment, but of course there's still plenty of laps to unfold, and he just needs to keep his head down there, keep the penalties low as possible. We can see, have seen, of course, in gold as well yesterday in the sprint and in the feature as well, the penalties do cost you a lot of places at the end of the races there. So here comes Dylan there for the lead of the Grand Prix down the inside there of B Rabbit there into P1 and takes the lead in car number 96. Great stuff indeed, an easy overtake. I don't think B Rabbit was fighting that too hard though, because he just seemed to just let the Alfa Romeo go through down the inside there and take the lead of the Grand Prix. So maybe just trying to slot him behind and work with the Alfa Romeo at this stage of the race as they get the race unfolding here in this first few laps. Of course, 29 laps. It's quite a long one around here. It's going to be about 45 minutes. That's without any safety cars. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to watch as well. Favre there sets the fastest lap. Of course, he has made a pit stop so far. I think for a wing change as well. He's 21 seconds behind P18 as it stands, but of course we'll be looking to bring that gap down on the fresher tyres as well. So it's not all doom and gloom just yet. There could be VSCs, there could be safety cars, there could be other things to come into the fold to affect the rest of this race. Now, unfortunately, Bloomstar is a bit further back as well. Hopefully, he can get himself back in the race. Only penalty so far is Dopey Lemons in P3. Right then, Serious Mushroom said his mum named him Serious Mushroom, and it's so good that you kept the name, says Moon. Good stuff indeed. They're talking about mushrooms, but I want to see some talking about the racing as well. Here comes Dopey Lemons there. Can he make a move there on B Rabbit and really help his teammate there with getting a bit of a gap in between? But here comes B Rabbit back again there on Dylan, and this time down the inside. Here comes Dopey Lemons as well down the inside of his teammate. It's going to be close indeed. There could be contact between the two Alfa Romeos there. Dopey Lemons there looking to try and make the opportune move, but he has to stay behind Dylan there for the time being there, and no team orders still there for the Alfa Romeos there. It looks like B Rabbit and Dylan were happy just to swap places out on the this lap and the previous lap as well. But Dopey Lemons was going to stick his nose in there, I think, and just try and see if there was going to be a bit of a sniff of a P2, maybe even a P1 at this stage of the Grand Prix. But nothing doing so far. Tango all over the back now. KD's being passed by Sweet MJP there into P4. There is the Williams driver, looking good so far. I don't want to jinx him because last time I did say that he didn't have a good race, and it was last week. So next time I'm not going to say anything about Sweet MJP until he finishes the Grand Prix, and that is that, unfortunately, for Sweet MJP. So sorry if you're a fan of Sweet MJP. I just can't commentate on him because I curse him. But he's up 2 places so far, and unfortunately KD down 2 places. So he has lost out from P3 there. Of course, we saw the move there from Dopey Lemons there on the medium compound tyres. But of course, we do expect, as KD there already harvesting some ERS energy there, isn't he, as well, as Reflection picks up the second penalty so far in this Grand Prix. We do expect, of course, the medium compound tyres to fade quite quickly there, and the hard compound tyres to go longer in this first stint. So we'll have to... we'll have to wait and see which one is going to come out on top and which strategy is going to be the best strategy in this race as well. Dylan stays behind B Rabbit this time, going down towards turn 1, and Dopey Lemons is still all over the back of both of them. Sweet MJP has joined the fray, and unfortunately KD there, he seems to be having a bit of trouble there. He's used up a lot of ERS as well, has the AlphaTauri, so he's struggling there with the ERS situation, I think, at the moment. And now Tango all over the back of him as well. Mumford is in the fray on the soft compound tyres. Oh, he's jumping about a bit there. Hopefully that's just my connection and not his, because it would be a bit more treacherous if it was his on the track as well with all those cars around him. But nonetheless, he's got himself back on the way up into P7 as well, up 1 place past Kamara Racer. But of course, on the soft compound tyres, we do expect them to actually probably be within the within the window there at this stage of the race so far. As Potsdam picks up a penalty, unfortunately for Potsdam. He's not having a good time. Well, he has having a good time. He's up 4 places, but he picked up his first 3-second penalty of the race there. Gordo's got himself, Kaz has got himself past V Todd, I think there. But that is that there. Jinner's picked up a 3-second penalty as well. They're both the Hasses there on this lap. They're picking up the penalties as well as they go through sector 2 into sector 3. That is bad news bears indeed. There they dropped off now the top 9 who have got themselves all in the DRS train. You can't really tell who's going to come out where and who's going to be leading this race in the next few laps or so. If you can predict the finish, then you can finish in top 10, then I will give you a big kiss. That's what it's going to be. Dylan now lining up a move there for P1. Oh, is there's contact? Oh, what's happened there? Dylan now pushing B Rabbit there off the circuit, and he's lost out 3 places there. KD now trying to make amends, trying to make a move as well. Tango up at the inside there of KD, as KD was a bit caught unawares, I think there was the Alpha Tauri. But not quite sure what Dylan was up to there. He's pushed B Rabbit, the championship leader, the race leader at the time there, off the circuit there, and I think that might be a problem there for Dylan there later on after the stewards review, put it that way. But I'm not quite sure what the tactics were there, but he's really given B Rabbit a bit of a shove, and now Dopey Lemons there is up into P2 there, both the Alfa Romeos there, P1 and P2 as it stands, and looking very strong indeed there, of course. But of course, there's plenty of racing, still plenty of laps still to come under this night sky. But B Rabbit there, I think, will be a bit aggrieved, put it that way, by that one. I'm not quite sure what you thought of that in the comments there, but there we go then. B Rabbit there is still in P4 there, trying to hold on to the rest of the top 3 now, and trying to get himself back in the top 3 there. But yeah, unfortunately, there's Tango picking up a penalty. Unfortunately for Tango, that's his first penalty of the evening. And there's a very wide, well, not very wide, it was a very running wide there, was an Alfa Romeo there, not quite sure which one it was. I think it might have been Dopey Lemons there, so there might be another warning there for himself. As down the main straight we go then, swinging repeat there all over the back now of Dopey Lemons. Here can he make a move there into turn 1? This is of course where we saw the incident between B Rabbit and Dylan there on the previous lap. There no moves being made just yet. He's going to try and hang it around the outside. It's close indeed. He has got the move done. I think he's up into P2, and he splits the Alfa Romeos there for the time being. But now Dopey Lemon's going to try and come back at him. There's contact between the two of them again as we go into turn 4. And Dopey Lemons has to yield, I think, there. B Rabbit now back up into this fight there with those two battling. He's got himself right onto the back of the Alfa Romeo of Dopey Lemons now, as he brings Tango and KD along with him as well. Into the pits goes Jinner, or comes out of the pits, I should say, does Jinner. And he's on to the medium compound tyres, I should say. There we go. Good stuff indeed. I think that was a scheduled stop from the Haas driver. So that is interesting stuff indeed. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out then. He might be going for a 2-stop strategy as B Rabbit and Tango battling away there. Side by side, these two here, as B Rabbit holds on to the place for the time being. But Tango now has found some extra pace, I think, there in the Aston Martin. Unfortunately, that penalty will come back to bite him, but he needs to just push on now. And it looks like he's really pushing on as well. He's trying to go for a move there on the Mercedes car. But of course, as B Rabbit goes wide there, that could be a warning as well. That could be a penalty coming his way, potentially, if he keeps doing that, of course. But now I think they're putting the pressure on there as Tango. And now I think, so we repeat, he has stayed within DRS range, luckily, just about there on Dylan. But here comes Dopey Lemons, they're back down the main straight. Here comes Tango on B Rabbit as well. The championship leader is under pressure there from his championship rival into turn 1. There's no moves being made, unfortunately, down there. V Todd has got himself up into P12 there ahead of Gordo as we go down towards turn 1 as well. So good stuff indeed. There's a lot of moves being made now, and I think this is where, of course, because some drivers they're losing some grip there on their tyres, on the mediums or on the softs even, and there's some drivers who are just phasing in now and coming back to their peak there, of course, on the hard compound tyres. So they'll be a lot more competitive now compared to when they were on what they were on the start of the race there, compared to those on the mediums and the softs, that is. So now we'll switch over to the soft tyre compound, so we can see what everybody is on. And the top 6 there, 2 of the top 6 on the mediums there, Swing Repeat and Dopey Lemons there. So we'll have to stop in the next few laps or so, and the hard runners, the hard drivers even, if you want to say that, can carry on in this Grand Prix for a few laps longer there before they pit as well. So there's still a few more drivers to pit. McConey and Kamara racing switching places there in towards the very fast right-handers there. So maybe Kamara had a bit of a problem there through that last corner or so, but he's lost out there to McConey there, up into P8 there for the Ferrari there, and down to P9 for Kamara there. Into the pits comes Mumford there off the soft compound tyres. So he's called it a day there on the softs. and he's going to be coming into the pit lane now to get off those soft compound tyres and go on to something a bit more grippy, I would imagine. But that is the plan anyway. So here comes the move there. Dopey Lemon's now under pressure from B Rabbit there into P3 round the outside of turn 1 and now into turn 2. He's got the move done into P3. He's back up into the podium places now as B Rabbit, and Dopey Lemon's now harvesting some energy as well as he's trying to fight back. I think here is he going to fight back into turn 4? He's not alongside. He hasn't been able to make the move there. He hasn't been able to stick with the Mercedes, and now B Rabbit up into P3 there, and now trying to get himself after Sweet MJP there and Dylan, who have now tried to check out in the distance, it looks like here. Gino sets the fastest lap of the race there. Farf has been passed by Gino there into P18 goes the Haas driver. Of course, he's made his pit stop already, but I think it was more of a scheduled stop than anything else there, thankfully. But you'll have to enlighten us, of course, in the comment section or after the stream in this one. But now on to lap 10 there. Of course, this is where the sprint event would finish. But we've still got another 19 laps to go there. B-Rabbit trying to hold on or trying to get back in that 1 second window there of the top 2. And at the moment, he's lost out that DRS there. That could be an opening for Dopey Lemons to get himself back into the fray. As through we go there into the final couple of corners there. He's just he's just over 1 second, I think there. He must have just lost out by 1,000th of a second as well. Into the pits comes Tango there and KD. KD on the hard, both of them on the hard compound tyres, so I'm not quite sure what's going on here. They're going to have to go to the mediums, I think. Gordo is in the pits as well. They're on the medium compound tyres, so that is interesting stuff indeed. Because we didn't think that the hard runners would be pitting so early, but KD and Tango have called it a day. All shot down up into P11 there. Craig are up into P12. Tango is dropping down the order, so is KD. He's jumped KD, I think, as well in the pit stop phase. So that is interesting stuff indeed. There, out of the pits we go there. Tango leading us away there. Here comes Mumford down the main straight. Can he make the move ahead of the AlphaTauri? He has done, but can he make the move ahead of the Aston Martin? And he has done that as well. So Mumford up into P14. He has undercut both the Aston Martin and the AlphaTauri of KD and Tango respectively. So that was a great strategy call there from the McLaren driver of Mumford there. He's got, of course, 1 lap older medium compound tyres, but he's made the move stick, and now he's going to have to try and contend with the championship contenders as well, which is going to be exciting stuff indeed. But Mumford's got the pace there. We've seen Mumford with the pace, and of course he is technically the leader of the first stoppers, I should say you could call it, as the top 13 have yet to make a pit stop at this stage of the race. B-Rabbit, I think, has just lost out again there to Swin Repeat there with the DRS there. He's not having a great time there with that DRS detection point, has he? As here we go then, Swin Repeat, they're looking to go for the race lead here on Dylan as we go down the main straight once again there towards turn 1 on lap 12 now, and the Williams takes the lead of the Grand Prix with a fantastic, an easy move by the DRS assistance, of course, but he had to make sure that Dylan didn't get in the way there this time. Dylan now down into P2 there, and now chasing back after the Williams driver there. We've got some pit stop activity for Kamara Racer and for Reflection, Craigar and Kaz. Kamara is coming up. Where's Kamara gone? I thought he was further up the order there. I think a few drivers have gone over an overtake there. As Jenner and Gordo there battling away as well in towards the first turn, and Gordo stays ahead into P14. Kamara coming out the pit lane on the hard compound tyres in P13. Far from reflection, are battling away there through sector 2 and now, or sorry, sector 1 I should say, and Farmer's got himself ahead there of the Mercedes, but of course the Mercedes just pit on to a fresh set of tyres, so it'll be a lot faster I think at this stage. He just needs to make sure he gets past the Alpine cleanly as well. That is the next phase for the Mercedes driver there, but yeah, unfortunately Favre does not want to jump out of the way anytime quickly, does he? As Kamara picks up a 3-second penalty. Unfortunately for Kamara, that is bad news indeed. Tango's got himself past Mr. Elite there. Mr. Elite, of course, yet to pit there. Into the pits comes the race leaders of Sweet P there and Dylan. So they have got themselves into the pit lane, and of course B-Rabbit retakes the lead of the Grand Prix. Dopey Lemon stays out there. Mumford picks up a 3-second penalty. That is bad news indeed for him. McConey now up into P2. And of course, recovering there after recovering from the recovering from the qualifying. Firstly, starting P20 in the sprint event there, finishing P9, and now I've into P2 there in the feature in the Grand Prix itself. Tango's at the vast lap of the race there. He's up into P7, and of course there's still pit stops to come for the drivers ahead of him as well. So now that is looking good indeed. He's got himself a nice gap to KD as well. Mumford now has dropped behind these two after coming out of the pit lane ahead of them on the strategic call, that is. But of course he is going to try and cling onto the back of KD and potentially get himself pulled along there in this Grand Prix still. Mr. Elite's back in the pit lane. Unfortunately, Mr. Elite is having to come back to the pits, as is Bloomstar as well. Bloomstar not having a good time there. Oh, sorry. Dear. I nearly died. Todd picks up a penalty as well. Dylan has got himself past Sweet MVP. That is going to be good news indeed for Dylan, because of course he wants to try and expend as much of the tyre life, as much of the energy as possible on this lap there, to try and make sure that he stays ahead of B Rabbit there on the pit stop phase. Is B Rabbit going to pit there on this lap there? He's not, but McConey's going to carry on there. McConey there from P20 at the beginning of the sprint has got himself into the race lead of the Grand Prix itself on lap 13, soon to be 14 here. B Rabbit into the pit lane, so is Dopey Lemon. So there seems like the crossover between the hards and the medium is pretty much even at this stage. B Rabbit into the pit lane. And what's he going to go on to? He's onto the medium compound tyres. Dopey Lemons, I think, will go on to the hard compound tyres and will come out behind B Rabbit as well. But where will they come out in respect to Tango, who is flying down the main straight, and B Rabbit's been passed there. Tango has got himself up into P4 there with ease. KD is through, Mumford is through, Dylan is through, Sweet MJP is through, and B Rabbit is going to come out behind Kamara Racer, who has done 2 laps on the hard compound tyres already. So it just shows the power of the undercut here in Losail is pretty much the strongest I think we've seen on any circuit so far this season. So fantastic stuff indeed there. That is really going to spice it up there in the racing. Dylan has got himself past Mumford as well now, so Mumford now has lost out to Tango, to KD, and now to Dylan as well. Swim to P there, of course, is in P8 there. He's looking to try and make his way through as well. No penalties for Swim to P there. Same with Dylan and KD. McConey and Potstuff and V Todd in the top 3 have yet to pit, so they will have to make a stop very soon, and that will be there at the next phase of the Grand Prix for those drivers there. But they've got a nice 7-second gap there before Tango reaches them, so that will be enough time, I think, for them to react there before the pitters do catch up to the back of the pack, I should say. McConey there pits, as I was saying. That's good stuff, and so does Pot Stuff as well. V Todd carrying on though, so that is interesting stuff indeed there. Of course, we've seen the power of the undercut there, but of course the other side of that, the other scale, is if you pit early, then your tyres will wear out a lot more, and then you might have to make another pit stop. So there could be some advantage to staying out there. We'll have to wait and see. Here comes B Rabbit there on the back of Kamara Racer. DRS, of course, available. Far picks up a 3-second battery. There we go. Then B Rabbit up into P7 now, and trying to chase down Mumford. The difference in tyre life, of course, we can see here. 1 lap there for B Rabbit there, 5 laps there for Mumford. So Mumford in the next 5 laps or so, I think, will be starting to struggle there on those medium compound tyres. B Rabbit, I think, will be quite comfortable indeed. So it's just a question of who can make it to the end of the Grand Prix. The gaps are now starting to, as B Rabbit picks up a penalty as well. That is going to be very costly indeed compared to those who have not got any penalties just yet, like the likes of Sweet P, Dylan and KD will be very happy with that one, especially if that is if they keep their noses clean there for the rest of this race as well. B Rabbit there trying to get himself past Mumford there, and maybe the bit of dirty air there from the McLaren has cost him to go a bit too far wide and over the track limits there for the Mercedes driver, unfortunately for him. But he's still within a shout there. Like I said, the tyre life is going to be in his favour now for the rest of this race. If he can get those medium compound tyres to the end of this Grand Prix, I think it might be quite a stretch there. He's going to do about 15 laps there on those mediums, even more so for the drivers ahead of him though, so that could be very favourable later on as we get towards the end of this Grand Prix. On to lap 15. Lap 16 is coming up soon. And now into the final turn. B Rabbit there is within DRS range there. I'm not sure if Mumford is in DRS range. He is, but it's not good enough there for Mumford there to hold on. He's already been passed by the Mercedes driver. The championship leader now up into P6 there, getting himself past the McLaren. Dopey Lemons as well, getting himself past Gordo. Gordo is still out there on the soft compound tyres, and here comes Dopey Lemons there around the outside of McConey. No, it's McConey on the outside of Dopey Lemons there as well. It's a double overtake, I think, there for the Ferrari driver up into P9. And Dopey Lemons there really had to just wait and wade him through there. I think he couldn't fight that battle as at that stage of the race there, but of course both of them on fresher tyres, and mediums at this stage will be much faster indeed as well. So he just needs to try and hold on to the back now of that Ferrari, because I think he can get pulled along very nicely indeed, because McConey's got some pace. We saw that in qualifying, before he got disqualified, that is. Farfar's back in the pit lane there, so Farfar I think can go to the end now of this Grand Prix. Bloomstar there is having a few issues there. Unfortunately, he's got himself back underway and onto a fresh set of hard compound tyres as well. Out in front, V-Todd is leading the Grand Prix. I haven't said this enough there. V-Todd is leading the Grand Prix. I think he might be hoping for a safety car or something like that to come out just before he enters the pit lane there, but I think he might have to call it a day very soon, as Tango picks up a 3-second penalty as well. That is bad news for Tango, as V-Todd has entered the pit lane there. Tango takes the lead of the Grand Prix now, but of course KD and Dylan are all over the back end here as well. Sorry, we'll go on to the actual fight there down the main straight. Here comes Dylan there on KD. He's got himself past and up into P2. Can he take the lead of the race into turn 1 as well? Going to go around the outside there of the Aston Martin. Not quite. He has to sit behind for the time being, but the top 3, oh, so close. Sweet MP picked up a penalty as well. He's been passed by B-Rabbit. Now B-Rabbit back into P4, and he's now 2.5 seconds behind the top 3 as well. But Sweet MP there on the hard compound tyres, I think, is in quite a good spot there. Of course, penalty depending as well. But he's in a quite good spot there on those hard compound tyres, as KD picks up a penalty as well. The penalty is now rolling in. Dylan is the only one, McConey and Gordo as well in the top 10 yet to have a penalty. There's only 4 drivers without a penalty, 5 with Bloomstar as well, down in P20, but it's all 20 drivers still going here. I don't want to jinx it now, but I probably have, and all 20 drivers still going here onto lap 17 here of the Qatari Grand Prix. And this has been an epic race, to be fair. There's action all the way up and down the field, as Darth Vader has said something. No, Farf is my father, says Indigo. I don't know if you want that. He is a dad, to be fair, but I think his kids are a lot younger than Indigo. I'm not saying that Indigo's old, I'm saying his kids are just young because they've just been born, but there we go. Nevertheless, I'm not quite sure what the comment section is on. I'm trying to keep up with it, but I can't really because it's all over the place. If ain't a 3, it's 5, says Equaz as well. Good stuff. Dylan now trying to go for the lead of the Grand Prix here on Tango as we go down towards turn 1 once again there onto lap 18. And Tango holding it down the inside there. He's really trying to hold on to this fight there, hold on to the lead of the Grand Prix, but he can't quite fight the Alfa Romeo into turn 1 and 2. Now up into the lead goes Dylan with a fantastic overtake, and of course he's now leading the Grand Prix without any penalties to his name as well, which could be the major factor in this race. He could finish 3 seconds behind Tango. He could finish 3 seconds behind KD, and it wouldn't matter at this stage. He would still get the win there because, of course, he is he has not got any penalties added on to his race time so far. The same for McConey in P8 there. Gordo doing a great job there on the soft compound tyres in P10, but I think might have to stop again very soon. And Craig R in P16 and Bloomstar in P25. Drivers without a penalty so far. There is quite a lot of penalties there. As we can see, Tango's actually got 6 seconds. I didn't notice that. 3 seconds for KD all the way down to Kamara Racer. 6 for Dopey Lemons again, and 6 for Potstar Reflection. 9 for Jinna, unfortunately struggling there with that default setup as well. 3 for Kaz, 6 for V-Todd, 3 for All Shot Down and Mr. Elite there, and 6 for Farf there, as it stands at the moment, that is. But there we go. V-Todd has got himself past Kaz now up into P14, and I think Kaz might be looking to get that move back on the Alpine, I should say, with the help of DRS. Here comes McConey with DRS down the main straight there. Both the ELS lights flashing there on these cars as we go. Oh no, not so much for Kamara Racer there, but down towards turn 1 we go on the back of Mumford. Can McConey make a move there into turn 1? Not quite. He has to sit in behind, or slot in behind, I should say, and McConey into P7 now. Gurman's here, says Indigo. Fanta is cooking, says Gurman as well. Fanta is cooking. I'm not sure if Fanta is Fanta Mumford. He's in orange. I'm not quite sure, but someone have to clarify that for me, because I don't know if that's just what the kids are saying. The kids are saying these days, or if that is something else. But yeah, thank you very much, Gurman, for your fantastic comment. Macaroni will jump up too as well, so Serious Mushroom, yeah, he's predicting that Macaroni, and McConey is his name, will jump up the order as Mumford's gone wide, and or was that just lag? I couldn't tell what was going on there. Mumford seemed to go off the circuit. He's back on the circuit now, but and McConey hasn't been able to make a move. So yeah, there we go then. The top 4 now separated by less than a second, And here is B Rabbit there in 4th place. Potstuff and Gordo switching places as Potstuff up into P4, up into P10 I should say, and into the points pen positions now. Of course Gordo I think is still yet to pit, or is due to pit again I should say. As into the pits comes Mumford, then Mumford calling it a day there on the medium compound tyres, so he decided that only 10 laps is enough there on the McLaren. He's going to go into the pits once again there. There could be some more pit stops to unfold in this Grand Prix. We've got 10 laps to go then, as B Rabbit is still fighting away there, trying to get himself back into the podium places. Then Mumford is down the order. Gordo's in the pits as well, as is Gina. There we go then. So there you go, 3 seconds for Bloomstar. He's one of the drivers who didn't have a penalty previously, has now got himself a penalty. Craigar is still powering on there with no penalties for himself. That could get himself into the range of the top 10 actually, Craigar. So he's not all doom and gloom just yet. He's out down in P13 as it stands, but it could be a very nice points pen position before the end of this, or by the end of this Grand Prix. 20 laps have been completed, or almost 20 laps have been completed, as we go on to the final third of this Grand Prix now. It's been a nice one, to be fair. It's been action-packed, and I can't keep up with all the comments and all of the action on the track as well. To be honest, Macaroni is going to be jumping people. Gordo's got to pit soon. Gordo has pitted just on this last lap. Tango, he means, says Serious Mushroom, and he means Tango. Oh, Tango, yeah, right. Tango is, yeah. But Tango in, as into the pits comes KD there. Late call as well there, it looked like. But he might have been just trying to play his rivals who are just all surrounding him now. But he's into the pit lane there. He's called it a day there on those medium compound tyres as well, similar to Mumford as well. He's gone on to the. He's going to go into the pits as well. Here comes Tango for the lead of the Grand Prix, round the outside now of the Alfa Romeo. It's similar to the it's deja vu of the previous couple of laps ago, and well, not so much here because they go side by side through turn 2. There's contact between the two cars, but now into turn 3, it's side by side down towards turn 4. Who's going to yield? If anyone's going to yield, I don't think they want to yield at all, do they? Into turn 4 we go side by side, and now turn 5. It's close indeed, and Tango I think has had to back out there. But great battling indeed, and B Rabbit now is all over the back of these two as well. There, he's looking interested indeed in that back of in the back of that Alfa Romeo and that Aston Martin. Sweeter P, like I said, is doing a good job there at the moment. He's in P4, but I think he can go to the end on those hard compound tyres. It might be a bit of a stretch towards the end, but he might be benefiting there from actually not making a pit stop there. It depends how fast those who do make a stop can go as well. So there's plenty of spice still to come in this Grand Prix. Fanta is doing well. He's actually Tango. Need a safety car, says Gordo with no pens. Gordo is down to P17, but he's on the soft compound tyres now, so he's going to be going great guns indeed to get himself back up the order. Hopefully his teammate will jump out of the way for him as well. All shot down, picks up a 3-second penalty. That is bad news indeed as well for him. Into the pits comes Tango and Dylan as well. So Dylan and Tango there calling it a day there on the medium compound tyres. Dylan's only done 9 laps there on those mediums as well. So into the pits come those two from the race lead as well. Interesting strategy. Of course, you lose about 22 seconds or so around the pit stop here, so they will lose out a few places as well. It just depends on who's got a pit and who's going to stay out is the other question. B Rabbit, I think, is going to try and stay out. I think he's got 7 laps to go after this one, that is, but that will take him up to about 15, 16 laps on his medium compound tyres. Is that doable is the question, and is it doable without losing any places to those who just made a pit stop there onto the soft compound tyres? Dylan there into P10 on the soft compound tyres, as is Tango in P11 as well. So they are going to be pretty quick indeed. Gino sets the fastest lap of the race there as well, just showing the, just emphasising the pace of the soft compound tyres at this stage of the Grand Prix as well. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it's going to unfold. The soft compound tyres were absolutely rapid for me in gold, but they fell off very quickly indeed, just like myself. Dopey Lemons has got himself into the battle there with Kamara Race there. This could be the very top echelons of the points there, outside of the podium places though, at the very end of the Grand Prix. And on the hard compound tyres, again, if there's any pit stops that have to be made for McConey or for B Rabbit, then they could profit and potentially get themselves a podium place at this stage. No pit stops there for the medium runners this time, as B Rabbit carrying on there once again. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it's all going to unfold. As Dopey Lemons now has DRS there to try and get himself past the Aston Martin down towards turn 1. We'll come back to that as KD now has caught up to V Todd on a fresh set of soft compound tyres. Dylan there in the background there, 2 seconds behind. So is Tango as well. Here comes KD there on the back of the Alpine, and sets the fastest lap as well, just to go with it. Looking good indeed there. No ERS to play with, though, unfortunately for the AlphaTauri. That is bad news indeed, but he's not got himself up into P8 now, and now onto the back of Reflection. I think Reflection might have to pick because he's done 11 laps there on those medium compound tyres. It will be a mammoth stint indeed if he can get to the end. We saw some punctures in Gold last night, especially for myself. So, yeah, you need to make sure you don't get too many punctures as well. Can he go down the inside there in the AlphaTauri? He's got the move done there. Reflection has to bide his time going through that corner there. He has to yield to the AlphaTauri there, and up into P7 goes KD there with some great pace there on the soft compound tyres. This is where it gets a bit worrying there for the drivers ahead of him because they can see a very fast approaching AlphaTauri in their wing mirrors now, and with the penalties, of course, that will be added on. We'll have to have a look at the penalty situation very shortly indeed as well. Fanta is really pushing hard, says Gurman. Fanta is down in P11 there. He's in DRS range of Dylan there. They're all over the back of VTOD, both these drivers as well now. But they need to try and keep it clean. Far picks up another penalty. That is bad news indeed for Farf. As VTOD is being pushed, it looks like. Oh, as VTOD picks up a penalty, they're going wide. Here comes Dylan down the inside. Is he into the final corner? No, not quite. He has to sit behind. And Kamara is being passed by Dopey Lemons there down towards turn 1. We'll come back to that because this is the battle here for the, for P8 really. Not too interesting to be honest. But now yellow flag for somebody. There's been a problem there for Kamara Racer, I think. Is it? Oh, it's into turn 1 we go, and there's action all over the place there. VTOD is being swamped there by Dylan and by Tango as well. The red lights are flashing. It's like a Christmas tree out there as well, as VTOD and Tango going side by side again through turn 2 and 3. And now here comes the Aston Martin. I think he's going to have to yield there, is he? VTOD is going to go for it still. But the soft compound tyres there have powered through there for Tango. He has to try and cling on to the back of Dylan there as well. Of course, Dylan there is going to be trying to stretch his legs there, get out that 1 second window there of the Aston Martin, who was battling him for position before the pit stops, and has been battling him since the pit stops as well, to be fair. Right then. 5.5 laps to go. And we've got some pit stop action there for all shot down. I think he was the reason why they saw the yellow flags, and they have been cleared away, thankfully. He's coming back down the pit lane now to get himself back out onto the track. And he will be currently still on the lead lap, which is good stuff indeed. If there's a late safety car, that will at least mean that he can stay out and get himself back into the safety car queue. But B-Rabbit there coming down the main straight now. He's at 4 seconds, almost in the lead of this Grand Prix. He's got another 5 laps to go here in this Qatarian Grand Prix. I'm not saying that right, but there we go. Potstaff now under pressure from KD. Here we go with the fresh soft compound tyres, and he's got the move done there up into P6 now, and back up into the P6 position as well, down the back of the order. Tango's got himself back in the DRS range there of Dylan as well, which is good news indeed for Tango. I mean Fanta, sorry. But to be fair, I think I prefer... do I prefer Tango or do I prefer Fanta? I'm not quite sure. It's one for the comment section, that one. So get your thoughts in. We should do a poll, really, shouldn't we? Tango or Fanta? But I do like a bit of Tango, to be fair. The drink, that is, as well, not just the driver. But here we go. Then there's pressure on Dylan as well. Here we go. Then the Aston Martin has been listening to us in the comment section and the commentary box, I should say, and is now putting the screw to the Alfa Romeo of Dylan there into sector 2 we go. And now this is going to be a very difficult indeed, because they're going to have to try and get themselves through past those drivers there who have yet to pit there. Loads of pot stuff. There's 10 laps there on those medium compound tyres. That is bad news indeed. There's yellow flags. Yellow flags, it's for a Williams. I think it might be Bloomstar. He's had a problem there. Yes, he has. He's been lapped now, unfortunately, as Bloomstar there, but he's got himself back underway. Not quite sure what happened there, but here we'll go back to that battle. We'll come back to that battle as... where was the battle? There it was. Potstaff there and Dylan there as we go through the final corner. Bloomstar picks up a 3-second penalty for his troubles as well. Here we go then for the attack now on the Haas, and I think Tango might be getting himself through as well. Can he get himself through? Both of them is the question. As we go side by side with Dylan there down towards turn 1. Potstaff has been left in the dust, unfortunately, for Potstaff has no DRS there. Tango takes the position. He takes 2 positions there ahead of Dylan as well. Now up into P7 now. 2 seconds behind KD, but with a fresher set of tyres just by a lap or so. But he needs to try and get a move on now, unfortunately, for Tango there. He's got himself a bit of pressure now behind from Dylan, and Dylan will want to get that place back as soon as possible indeed. Right then. let's have a look and see up the order. 300p is on for a good result here. McConey, if his tyres can stay in the window, can stay on that car in one piece, that is as well, he will be on for a podium here and potentially a P2. Potentially, if B Rabbit has any issues there, potentially a P1. And we'll have to wait and see if that is going to be the case as well. Potstar picked up a penalty. That's him in P9. We'll have a look at the penalty situation there on your screen as KD's got himself past Kamara Racer there up into P5 as well on the soft compound tyres there. KD is powering through, and of course Kamara there is up on an older set of hard compound tyres, I believe, so of course he doesn't have the performance there to compete just yet, of course, unless those soft compound tyres start to drop off, that is, in which case he will be back in the fight. But now Tango is coming up to the back of his teammate there. I'm not sure if Kamara is going to be too forgiving there, or too kind there to let Tango back through. We'll have to wait and see. There is your penalty situation there for the driver of the day poll, which is out in the comment section. B Rabbit, Sweet 100p, V Todd or Dylan are your nominees. As here comes Tango there all over the back of his teammate now, and that is getting close indeed. There's no team orders, it doesn't look like. They're still fighting side by side through turn 2. Tango gets the place and up into P6, I should say, but of course the penalties will come back to bite him, I think, at this stage. As it stands, he's got 6 seconds of penalties. That will lose him a place to his teammate and to Dylan, and unfortunately Potstar has picked up 9 second penalties there, so that is bad news indeed as well. And down the inside goes Dylan on Kamara Racer as well there. Kamara's not got much to fight with there, has he? There's the penalty situation. Get your votes in there for driver of the day as quickly as possible. Although it might be a bit of a case of trying to hang on to the vote before the checkered flag there to try and determine who's actually going to be the best candidate for driver of the day. There's going to be all driver of the days in my eyes are my stars of the show there. Out in front, the gap was almost 5 seconds. It's down to 3.6 there. Has B Rabbit got an issue there on that Mercedes, or is he just trying to save those tyres as much as possible and go slower through the fast-paced corners there to try and just extend the life of that compound? I think he might be struggling here because he's now got a 3.5 second gap, a 3.5 second lead. McConey now with DRS there on Swing P from Reflection, picks up another penalty. Kamara's in the pit lane. Not quite sure why Kamara's in the pit lane here. That's going to cost him a position. It was going to cost him points there in the top 10. Bloomstar picks up another penalty. Unfortunately, Bloomstar is just not going his way tonight, but he's carrying on in this Grand Prix, which is fantastic to see as well, and could potentially get himself a point for fastest lap there. Kamara in the pit lane. They're on for soft compound tyres with only 2 laps to go. Interesting stuff indeed there. Maybe he thought that he was going to get overtaken by the rest of the pack anyway and lose out on that top 10 regardless. But Kamara now down to P13, down to P14, down to P16, I would say. And there we go, then he's back out of the pit lane now, but he's going to be behind. I think he might be behind even Mr. Elite as well, but he's got himself back underway, thankfully. Tango's got himself past Dopey Lemons there, up into P5 now in 1.1 seconds. Dopey Lemons has let his teammate through as well, I think. 1.1 seconds behind KD now as well. The gap was 2 seconds, wasn't it, when he passed Dylan, and it's now down to 1.1. Can he get himself in that DRS range there of the AlphaTauri to really pull himself along, potentially get himself safe from a few more penalties for the drivers around him as well? McConey now all over the back there of the Williams of 300p. Would have thought the hard compound tyres would be better now, but 300p's gone wide. He's lost out to P2, and he's dropped down the order there, unfortunately. B Rabbit could be under pressure as 300p is coming in the pit lane. He's called it. Has he got a puncture? I think he's got a puncture there. He was going very slowly on that right-hander there, getting in the pit lane. I think he's got a puncture, unfortunately. Trying to slow the car down. He has done as well. KD up into P3 now, and Tango is all over the back of him, I think, but he's just lost out the DRS there. 300p is in the pit lane, which is a big shame indeed, because he might lose out here to the top 10 as well, but he was doing such a good job there. I don't know if he did get a puncture or not, but he's soldiering on there, and Alfa Romeo of Dopey Lemons is in the pits as well. He's done 14 laps on those hard compound tyres. 300p coming out the pit lane now. He's going to be down into P10. He could be under pressure here from Craig R, but Craig R is actually, to be fair, it could come down to penalties. We're on the final lap of the Grand Prix, and yeah, my God. What a race this has been. This has been absolutely epic, to be fair. I really loved commentating on this Grand Prix. It's been epic from first lap to 29th lap, hasn't it? And Tango there is up into P4, like I said. He's going to have himself a gap there. I think he's going to stay P5, actually, with the penalty situation there as well. There is your penalties on the screen. for you to help so you can help decide your driver of the day there. Get your votes in quickly now before the end of the final lap as B Rabbit takes us round there. The gap is now 4 seconds. Has McConey got a problem there on that Ferrari? Has he got some issues there with the tyre pressures as well? Swindler picks up a 3-second penalty. That is bad news indeed. That is going to cost him P10. Yellow flags in the background. I think it's for a lapped car, hopefully getting out of the way. Jinner's lost out to Craigar. No, Craigar's lost out to Jinner, actually. Craigar is having a problem there. What's happened to Craigar? He was on for a point here in this race, and unfortunately not quite sure what's happened to Craigar. Reflections had an issue as well and gone wide off the circuit there. A 10-second penalty. We've lost the finish. B Rabbit has won the Grand Prix by 1 second to McConey there. KD has got P3 and got himself a podium in the end there. Dylan has got himself P4, Tango in P5 with the penalty situation, Potstaff P6, Mumford in P7, V-Todd has got himself some good points in P8 there. Fantastic stuff indeed from V-Todd. Gordo into P9 with the penalty situation for Sweet P does cling on to that final point there, but I'm not quite sure what the strategy was there for pitting there. A few drivers there pit on the penultimate lap there, unfortunately. Kaz into P13, Craigar in P14 after that, Mr. Elite in P15, Jinner in P16. Unfortunately, Camaro's had an issue somewhere on this lap as well. But he's down in the order there. He was up in the points at one point, but of course he did decide to pit there at the end of the race. All shot down has gone through there for P17, and Favre is coming through in the final couple of. I think Kamara's run out of fuel, has he? Yeah, he has. He's run out of fuel there. Bloomstar finishes P20, but what an end to the Grand Prix! I completely missed it because we were wondering what was going on with Jinner and Craigar, but fantastic racing indeed there from all the drivers there. Got to the checkered flag. And we're happy to say as well, it was every single driver who finished that race who started it. 20 drivers there. I think one of the first of the season from ALR as well. So credit to Silver. That just shows why they are one of the best. Of course, I have to say bronze is also the best as well. But no, Kamara Racer there did finish the Grand Prix in the end. Well done to him for soldiering on there at the end there with no fuel. He probably wanted a safety car or two to pop out. But there we go then. B Rabbit is your driver of the day there in the comment section. V-Todd with 33% and Sweet and Repeat with 16% as well. And good stuff indeed. There is your podium sitters then. B Rabbit does take the win there in the end. Fantastic stuff indeed. A great strategy call there as well. Then we had, of course, KD in P3 and the Ferrari of McConey there in P2 as well. But what a race. And like I said, I couldn't keep up with the action, to be fair, for most of it. But there we go then. There is your classification then. B Rabbit gets maximum points apart from the fastest lap. He gets maximum points there with the sprint win and the feature win as well. Great stuff indeed. We've gone through the sprint. We'll go through the race classification as well here as well. Tango gets the fastest lap of the race as well, it looks like. So good stuff from Tango. Gets himself that extra point there in P5 there. There is your top 5 of the feature race, that is. So we have to be just holding on to that last points pen position as well in P10. But like I said, the penalties were the ones to watch out for. Only I think it was only 3 drivers there in the end. It was Craigar in P14, Gordo in P9. And Dylan, I think, wasn't it? Dylan got a penalty. No, Dylan and McConey, who didn't get any penalties, and that promoted them up the order there. Gordo got himself in the points as well at the end of that race as well. V-Todd, 20th to P8. If I could change my vote, I would do now. That is an absolutely fantastic result there from V-Todd. But there we go. That is your Qatar Grand Prix for silver, done and dusted. And we'll get some interviews underway for the top 3 as well. I think KD has joined us. KD, have you joined us?
Hello, I'm here.
Hello.
KD, you had well, let's go to the sprint first, because you had an absolutely epic sprint. Qualifying really set you up nicely indeed. What happened on that final lap there, though?
At turn 6, I lost the rears coming out of turn 6, because obviously that corner is obviously one of the trickiest areas of traction zones at Qatar. But yeah, lost the rear, and plus my tires were starting to get pretty cooked. So yeah, that's basically what happened.
Yeah, I think towards the end of the sort of 10th lap, you see the medium start to drop off quite drastically, don't you? So that was the last lap of the sprint there. And yeah, it was very close indeed between yourself, Dylan, and B Rabbit there for that race win in the sprint, that is. Did you think you had it covered up until that last turn 6, I suppose you could say?
Yeah, if I didn't make that mistake, I think I would have won the sprint. considering that after the penultimate lap, I had a bit of enough of a gap to cover up B Rabbit at turn one. I think I would have covered him off in the last lap because I had times where I was quicker than him in the first two sectors. I feel like a lot of drivers around me, actually, as a matter of fact, kind of ran lower downforce than me because there were times I struggled to overtake some people with down the main straightaway. But yeah, no. But onto the subject, yeah, I think I could have covered him off, but it's just I didn't.
It was a bit unfortunate. I think it was for me, it reminisced of Singapore, but I don't want to go there because it's a touchy subject. But then
Yeah.
into the feature race, you started P3 obviously from the sprint, and you did finish in P3 in the end as well. But firstly, just talk us through that. Talk us through the first sort of half of that feature race, because it was you were up and down. It was all over the place with the overtakes through with Tango, with Dylan, with Dopey Lemons in there as well. There was all sorts going on. So what were you thinking? I'm just going to take my time, be patient in this first stint, or were you trying to get the places back straight away?
Well, the first lap I had a bit of a scary moment. Not that it was on. I don't know if it was on your end, but like I had a bit of a lag spike, and then like there was a moment where I was like really close to Dylan's rear end of the car, and then everyone just like lagged a little bit more forward in front of me, and then I lost this place to Dopey, and then I mean mainly yeah, the first half of that stint I was just trying to keep up with everybody as best I can, and then like I said, I kind of struggled to overtake with everyone in the DRS train because they seem to have lower downforce compared to me. Like, I remember one overtake where Sweet MJP was like 4/10 or 5/10 behind me, and we both had DRS, and he just freaking zooms by me like I was just nothing. So, but yeah, yeah, basically the first half was just keep up as best I can, and then obviously you just saw, of course, I tried to go for the two-stop strategy, which I thought would work, but obviously didn't.
It worked. I think it worked best for yourself, to be fair. Out of everybody there who tried it in the end, I think a few people had to make some last-minute stops as well after they realised that the one stop wasn't going to work. But nonetheless, you got you still got a double podium, I suppose you could say. Are you pleased with that, or did you think you could have got better there this week?
Could have got a little bit better, honestly, but I knew it was at Qatar was going to be very close, no matter what the field spread is. But it was better than what it was last week. Obviously, last week I joined late and obviously got involved in some incidents. But no, like today was a lot better, considering that I was always that I was up towards the front for all of the race, and yeah, just pretty pleased with the result. But I just felt I could have done a little bit better.
Well, hopefully next week we've got another sprint event as well, and it's your one of your home Grand Prix. It's Austin, of course, in Texas. So hopefully we'll see you back there, and hopefully back on the podium as well. But well done to yourself there. Two P3s there tonight in Qatar for KD, and then we go on to I think have we got McConey in here? McConey joined us. No, doesn't look like it. We'll go on to B Rabbit in that case, because B Rabbit, you were once again like I was saying in the classification there, you won both the sprint and the feature event in that round. And at some stages, it didn't look like that was going to be the case there. Can you talk us through how you're feeling right now?
Yeah, absolutely insane. Like, I have no idea what happened to the tire wear in Qatar. Like, I practiced some stints, some races, but I had never such a high tire degradation like today. So this was absolutely crazy. I had on the hards in the first stint like 70%. So I was not sure to make it on the mediums in the end, but I was just praying that the tires will last. I have never seen such a bright red on the tires like today, so this was luckily really crazy. I was trying to survive the last few laps, but it worked. So I'm absolutely happy with that. I think this is one of my best weekends so far. Like, qualifying was a hell of a lap. Like, I never did such a good lap in my practice before. And yeah, only KD was better, so this lap was really insane. Like, maybe even esports material, who knows. But yeah, then the sprint was really good. Like, KD had a little mistake in the last lap, and I was the lucky one to take the spot. And yeah, the race was just insane. Like I survived on my old tires. Not sure if it was. I think in the end it was the right strategy, but it was really risky.
Well, it worked out in the end as well, and you must be a mystic, Meg, there to get your strategy just right in the end. There, of course, we saw some drivers that go for the two-stop. Did you ever think you were going to be doing a two-stop in that feature race?
It was really not planned. Like I practiced it before, and a one stop was the best strategy. And yeah, at some point, like lap 18, lap 19, I was just thinking about no, you will finish on this tire. So I was a little bit managing behind the top three. And yeah, then I think Katie was the first who pits. Then 1 or 2 laps later, Tango and Dylan follow him, and I was just sending it like, "Come on, you can do it on the in the last few laps." I was managing a little bit. I had McConey behind, like he had no time penalty, and I was on 5 warnings, so I had a 3 second penalty, and I couldn't allow one more. So it was a bit intense in the end, but all in all, I think it worked, and I'm really happy with the result.
It was good indeed, and like I said, the penalties I think were not just your worry this evening; it was everybody's worry. It looked like based on the classification at the end there. But congratulations to B Rabbit there, the race win and of course the sprint win as well earlier on, and of course the sprint event returns next week in where are we? In Austin, in the USA next week. So it's back-to-back sprints there for every division, but for silver as well. So tune in next Monday there for some more sprint action. Then, of course, we've got bronze coming up tomorrow night, and that will be here in Qatar as well, a sprint and a feature for them as well. And then we have F2 in Qatar, which is going to be quite interesting indeed on F2 cars around here. So yes, tune in for that on Wednesday as well. So there's plenty more action on ALR coming up, and we'll see you very soon.